Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Rutland, Office of the Select Board. This is our regular meeting on Monday, February 24th, 2020 at 6 p.m. We are in the library in the cable room at the lower level. Meeting is officially called to order. I would note right now that these meetings are, as usual, recorded for transmission on Rutland Public Access Television and on YouTube. Welcome to all. Could we please say the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. As per our usual lately, we will be going fairly significantly out of order from the order of business you see in front of you. We will start with a regular minutes, treasury warrant, payroll, if I could. Get a motion for the treasury warrant.
Motion to approve the treasury warrant number 18 and payroll.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And we have a couple sets of minutes here.
I see one.
Just
One set of minutes here.
February 10th. Make a motion to approve the minutes for February 10th, 2020.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Tamika, yours?
Yes.
These are your minutes?
Oh, yes.
These are fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is pretty much what they were telling us to do in the big.
Okay. Perfect now.
Thank you.
Clear. Yep.
Thank you. All right, as I noted, we are jumping around. We have some people who need to leave for some other events and other meetings, so we are jumping all the way down to the select pilots, yes? Join us, which is under new business number 100.
So we'll start with the select pilots because we had two other amendments as well.
Okay.
But, so I believe you have copies of the select pilots before you. This has been a long process to get these to come before the Board of Selectmen and the approval. The company that we've been working with has the lease, the rooftop solar installments for by way of your school department. So we have the Naquag School and the Central Tree on, is that right?
No, Glenwood.
Glenwood, I'm sorry. Central Tree's coming later. So those pilots are here before you, and the total amount for Glenwood over the 20-year period is $34,571, and Naquag is $30,711. That's the total for the 20 years. So they have an annual amount that they'll pay based on a combination when you have a PPA and a pilot. So we look at the income and the savings to the community. So it's the sum of the parts for the total amount due. So this is why it's a rooftop solar, so there's not a lot of kilowatts being generated, so it's a small amount of money, but it's something more than you had yesterday.
So could you, not to put you on the spot, can you clarify, because I think a lot of people would ask this question, it does not sound right, like a lot of money off the top for the town in terms of the pilot. Do you know any of the details in regards to what the school district is getting in energy savings yet? Has Select shared that information?
Did not come prepared to
That's
speak
fine.
to I do have that information, and I could bring it back or get it in the form of an email. I do have a copy of the PPAs because I needed it to generate the income for the total combined sum of it to come up with this number.
That'd be perfect if you could send that on.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
because I think that gives people a clearer picture of what this was, which was a partnership really with the district, and they're going to see some savings as well.
Okay.
We were the only town in the district able to do it, as you know,
Oh, okay.
because we're the only ones who work with National Grid. The others are all under Muni Light.
Oh, right. Okay. So if you'd like, I can bring that back to another meeting so that it's captured on TV so people could hear that,
Sure.
if you'd like.
Would love to have you.
Okay, sure.
So,
So we're looking for a signature. If there's no other questions about these two pilots,
okay.
there is we're assigning 2 copies so that they can then go back to the developers for co-signatures, and then one original will come back to the town.
So just as a note, the signature page on these agreements are actually town administrator.
Yes,
Okay. And then the lessee select will be their COO.
that's right.
Okay.
Yep.
So what I'll be looking for, and this can be separate or it can be two separate motions, excuse me, together or two separate motions. We have an agreement for payment in lieu of taxes for each Naquag Elementary and Glenwood Elementary that we are authorizing the town administrator to sign.
And one's for Wachusett Solar and the other one's for Select?
No,
One
these
is-
are both select.
They're both select.
Both Select,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Both Select but two different locations,
Yes.
Yes.
so. So I'd make a motion to sign the payment in lieu of taxes agreement with Select Energy for the two school locations, Naquag and Glenwood.
Can I get a second with the clarification, authorized town administrator?
To authorize the town administrator to sign on behalf of the board.
Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, I'm gonna leave these in the folder. I'd like
Right,
to
so we
sign later.
have, there are two amendments before you as
Yep.
well for pilots that you have originally approved at a prior time. One is for Pleasantdale Road Solar. It's a Nexamp project that was actually a pilot signed in December of 2015. We have just received a copy of their certification of their electric that they're generating, and that's under the terms of the pilot. So they have a new accounts manager over there. We've been trying to get a copy of that for some time. So they have been paying the higher amount all along, because in the pilot it says, until you notify us, we're not changing anything for you. So there's no back dating and giving them credits for anything they didn't do. So in terms of the Pleasantdale Road Solar Project, the increase for the remaining 15 years, there'll be an increase of $28,185 for the remainder of the contract. So it's $1,879 a year. So we just need your approval for that, and again, we'll send a copy to a Nexamp and have them co-sign that.
So this is a motion for board signature on this one.
And this is in the best interest of the town to do the pilot instead of,
No, it's just an amendment to the terms of the
okay, one that
of the
you've already
pilot.
agreed to.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, got it.
yeah.
So I'll make that motion to, that the board sign the payment in lieu of taxes on Pleasantdale Road Solar, care of Nexamp Incorporated, for the solar property on Pleasantdale Road.
And that's to sign the amendment. Could I get a second? And is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Lot 13, I guess is what it's called.
One more.
So the last one is a amendment to the pilot that was signed for Wachusett Solar LLC, also another Nexamp project. That pilot was signed April 9th of 2018. They have just certified the electric generated from that particular project. This is the first year they'll actually be built because of that certification. So instead of the $24,000 they were gonna be billed, it'll be $31,609 a year, being an additional $152,180 over the term of the 20-year contract.
What's the location?
That one is on Wachusett Street. I don't have a number for it.
Does it say it on this?
It's done on the end of Muskapog Road.
Should we clarify it?
I don't believe it has a number. I think that's
It
why.
doesn't have
yeah.
a number.
Yeah.
All of the other ones have numbers to their parcels, so
Yeah.
unfortunately I don't have
Uh,
a street number.
I suppose we could have referenced it by its assessor's map, or you know.
Yeah,
like
in
a-
the pilot it does,
Okay.
but
Yeah, and this is just the amendment to that pilot
yeah,
contract.
it's just the amendment to the pilot, and let me see if they, Yeah, they don't say it in their certification letter either, so we'll try to get a street number on that for
Okay.
future reference, but,
And you're okay with this?
excuse me?
You're okay with this?
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
we write them.
So I make a motion to, that the board sign and approve the amendment to the payment in lieu of taxes for Wachusett Solar LLC, for the site at Wachusett and Mushkapog.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
And that's all I
Well,
have.
thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Off you go.
Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.
So that was nice. The board is signing, and Mike signing several documents that'll make us a little bit more money.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start handing these down. All right, I'm moving on. Select board member Stillings also has another meeting that he would like to attend later this evening and has asked to be able to address his items that he requested on the agenda out of order, and he's gonna go in
Yeah.
order on the agenda
Okay.
on them, if that's all right. So
well-
everything that's getting pulled out, we're gonna go down and just note it.
Okay, and I appreciate this. So at 7 o'clock, I plan to meet with the OCAM Select Board to discuss the DCR proposed changes to access of the prison camps, which is later in the agenda here. So let's go down. Section 5, if we could discuss petitions, applications, awards, presentations. The Rutland Fire Brigade, a one-day liquor license. In summary, May 15th, 2020, this year is National Law Enforcement Memorial Day. Last year, on or about the 15th, we did our first Moses Howe recognition and laying of the wreath on the old burial grounds. In discussion with the fire brigade, I proposed maybe that we expand upon the law enforcement memorial service after our ceremony, that we take it over to the town grounds, the old fire barn in there, and we have some sort of a pouring ceremony, some spirits, some muster, something like that to continue after the ceremony, but not on the grounds themselves. So what I asked is to see if this could be put on the agenda for preliminary discussion amongst the board members to see if there's an appetite to allow for a one-day pouring license so that beer, specifically beer, could be poured or sold on the other side, being the old fire barn property in there, with the intention of a fundraiser for the fire barn to try to get funds in for the restoration of the museum in there and to sell some bricks. So I just wanted to bring that up. I'm not necessarily, I guess.
Randy has the application.
Oh, you do have an application pending. Okay. Does that pretty much sum it up, Mr. Jordan?
Is it May 5th or 15th?
15th. It's always the week that the 15th falls on, and then this year it happens to be on a Friday. So it's a good opportunity to have some sort of a, and that's not finalized yet, but if we weren't able to get a pouring license, then that would certainly alter what our options would be after the ceremony. I think it would be a nice opportunity for a fundraiser for the fire brigade, so.
So the brigade will be the petitioner,
Yeah.
the nonprofit, the brigade, okay?
Yep.
And you'll come to another meeting once the application is done.
It's done.
It's,
It's done.
I thought you were filling it out.
No, I just adjusted the date, that's all.
Come on up, Mr. Jordan.
May not be filled out right, but I did it to the best
Good job.
to the best of the ability.
And the second part of that, Madam Chair, would be permission or support of the board to proceed again with the May 15th Law Enforcement Memorial recognition by the town and some sort of a celebration on the old burial grounds.
Now, does that go along with the Moses Howe Award update, or is that separate?
Separate,
Separate, okay.
yeah. So the first part would be, I would like to do it again. Similar, if not better, than last year. I'd like permission to do it and support. May 15th, Friday night, respectful law enforcement wreath laying, and maybe a couple of cannons this
Right.
year. A couple of cannoneers have reached out, would like to take it to the next level.
Nice.
Yeah, So I would like, I guess I would make a motion to, again, support to recognize, first of all, my motion would be to recognize National Law Enforcement Memorial Day in the town of Rutland for May 15th, 2020, and to authorize for a celebration to take place on the old burial grounds that evening.
So this will be an event sponsored by the select board.
Yes.
Okay.
Same as last year.
Yep.
With full participation of our law enforcement community and residents. My motion.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? No, we'll take the liquor license separately.
Yes.
This motion is just for the event. Is-
And I welcome all board participation and support and whatever, as much as you guys would like to participate in.
And the chiefs
Good
sort
with
of know?
Yeah.
This is-
Chief sort of knows, yeah,
Chief's
and I
know.
think it would coincide nice with the Moses Howe Award.
Okay.
Okay, so that's that part. Chief knows and he's on board.
Excellent. Is there any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
My second motion, Madam Chair, would be to approve the one-day pouring permit for on or about the grounds of the old fire barn for the day and the evening of May 15th, 2020, with a rain date of May 16th, 2020. Pouring license to be sold and consumed on or about the old fire barn.
Yep.
What are the times on the application?
10.
Oh dear.
The ceremony
ceremony's
would
at
normally
5.
be at sunset, 5 o'clock, so we could do 4 to 10 or whatever the
On the
police is the board.
application, I put 10 to 10, just not knowing the
Just
particular
set up.
time, and if we want to
Plan on
start
cracking
early,
into some in the morning, Randy?
Gives us time to set up and
it's tough.
get them cold.
Jeez.
And,
hope the kids get to school and stuff.
oh dear.
Sheila.
It's like the old fire department days.
It will happen after that school lot empties. Trust me.
After the school lot, so the Naquag late dismissal,
When that's all gone, that's
That's
when
about
we don't
3:40.
wanna,
Idea would be after the ceremony, maybe some music, but to highlight the great work that these men have done in restoring the old fire barn, and to show the bricks, which is specifically, I think if you would, I mean, you have the bricks out there for sale. It's a little bit different trying to sell it out there than having the community. We had 85 people, maybe 100 people last year. We're gonna up it this time. We'll have well over 100 people. We're gonna push to have firefighters and police there. And while you're having a muster after the fact, that's a perfect opportunity to highlight why you should buy a memorial brick for your loved one in there. And there's no better opportunity, I think, to showcase that. And I think that's probably doing the best that we can do for the fire brigade to try to highlight the opportunity to sell those bricks. And it's law enforcement memorial, but it's also the public safety, which the fire department is a true partner.
All right, and the brigade has done this before. They know the rules. It was successful at the food truck festival. So I know we know what the requirements are. Not 10 to 10.
So I make, not 10 to 10? So, okay, so 4 to 10? Let's try, Darren. Okay.
whatever time that, we'll get a poll on when the school
I was
lot
concerned about
opens.
setup, so that's why I put it earlier, in case we gotta get,
Yeah, we
Things
can
set
set
up.
it up, we just can't.
Oh, of
pour it,
course.
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
well, I was concerned about setting up.
Okay.
So I'd like to set it up earlier,
No,
get it
that's,
chilling, get it properly
oh, I
tapped
see
in
what you're
and all
saying.
that, or test it.
Can we live with 4 to 10?
I think I
5 to
do we
11?
know the answer about the one-day permit? I would think setup is not included within
No,
the
correct.
pouring.
It's pouring time.
Yeah.
So I think we're fine.
Pouring and selling, or pouring and
Pouring and selling time.
sampling is
So-
okay?
Pouring and sampling is not
Selling,
pouring and
let's just
selling.
say selling, please.
I feel like you don't need to keep talking about that.
I know. Wait a minute.
Brandy, what you do in the backseat of the car at 10 in the morning, totally up to you.
Tractor.
Could we just long, please?
So I make that motion.
Are we doing 4 to 10? Is
Four
that-
to, four to
okay
10.
with 4 to 10?
Thank you.
Sure.
Do I have a second?
Well, the only thing I would add, is there a fee associated that we
Next,
should
we
waive?
always do it after.
spoke with
Where
the
was-
after.
Okay,
All right.
so Jeff, you
Supposed
made
to
the
be a
motion?
surprise, yeah.
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any more discussion? No. Thank God. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Congratulations.
Now, I'll move that we waive the fee for a nonprofit at town.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Look at that. We get things done, right? Yeah.
Okay, there's two other, while we're on the same vein.
Name and address, please.
We would like to also,
Who are you?
Your name and address.
Darren Ross, 5 Rufus Putnam
Thank-
Lane in Rutland.
Thank you.
The first name is June 16th. So on June 16th, we're gonna have the Wachusett Area Towns muster.
It's not on the agenda, he's just.
It's
Yeah.
not on the agenda, so we'll just,
I can't recognize you for that right now. Is that all right?
nope, alls I wanna do is just, different item.
Yeah, I got a
Okay.
public comment. Do you mind
Okay.
waiting?
Yes, go ahead. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Sorry.
I'll sit right down.
Sit close.
Well, maybe we could put that on the next meeting agenda.
Yeah, but I think he just wants to bring it up.
June
Okay.
16
I
muster.
just wanna let you know.
I know. Jeff has a lot to do, so that's why we have to keep him going.
Nice grunt. Okay. Continue?
Yes.
Thank you
Please.
for both of those. Takes me down to section 8, number 94, update on the DCR Ware River Watershed Advisory Committee. So as you all know, this past Thursday, January 20th, was the meeting in the library for the Ware River Watershed Advisory Commission. DCR was in attendance, and to make a long story short, or to quote the Telegram and Gazette, they were overwhelmed. It was an overwhelming response. There were just as many people outside of the large meeting room as there were inside the large meeting room. It was just too many people in attendance for them to properly hold a meeting. So what happened was that DCR gave a very preliminary update to proposed changes that was going on. The DCR director said a couple of words, and then myself and the chair of the Barry Select Board presented the position papers that our individual boards signed and agreed on. Our last meeting, you all signed in support of the position to keep the gates open. So we presented that. We also I also discussed the ongoing petitions that have been circulating, stating the same thing, that we are simply asking that no changes be made and that the gates remain open. Currently, we are in excess of 2,000 signatures, well in excess of 2,000 signatures, just from the local handwritten petitions in there. So I'm keeping the originals, I'm cataloging what comes in, and I intend to present this to either the commission or the commissioner at the next meeting. Now, this just came in today. It should be noted that the continuance meeting is going to be March 19th, 2020. It's a Thursday, 7 p.m. at Quabbin High School, 872 South Street, Barry, 7 p.m. That was posted today. Copy for each of you.
Thank you.
And this is from our, one of the representatives, Mr. John Root. So if there's any way, I believe it would probably be proper to maybe post that on our website,
I think it already has to be because it's WRCA.
all right?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe if we could update that the new meeting is 3/19/2020, 7 p.m. Thank you. Related to that, our representatives, so each select board of the 4 related towns, Barry, Rutland, Ocam, Hubbardston, has a representative in the WRWAC. We have a primary, and then we have an alternate. Ours is Dick Williams and a gentleman named Brett Russ, who we appointed. During this meeting, Brett Russ was nominated for and approved to be the new general public at-large seat on this commission. He was approved. He is now slid into the at-large seat, which leaves a vacancy for the backup position for our seat in there. I asked him to send me a letter. He sent it to me today. He sent it via email to explain that he had been upped and now a vacancy occurs. So I want to present this to the board so that we can talk about posting the vacancy and hopefully be able to fill that alternate seat next to
So,
Dick Williams.
The alternate seat, because this is based on a retirement, I believe, will be available on April 1st, 2020.
Who's retirement?
Well, Dave Small, who's stepping down, vacating the seat, but not immediately. So he wrote that.
Okay,
The person he's
the
replacing.
at-large seat, sure.
Yep.
Okay, so,
So I think what we'll need, maybe Mike can send an email. We need an official notification,
Yeah.
right? From
So
W.
something like this sent to Anita, and then we can officially post it after that.
okay, I did flip it to
Yeah.
you and the chair
Yeah.
this evening before the meeting. So, okay, you want me to reach out to him again and ask him to,
Just have him forward that to Anita.
Please
Just so she
forward
can
it to
make it
Anita.
official.
okay. Got it. So that's that, thank you.
I would think we would get something from WAC officially as well.
Okay, well, just so you know.
Thank you. Excellent.
Any questions on our participation in that? Okay, and as I mentioned
It's not
earlier,
here.
we signed our position paper. Barry signed off on the same, saying we agree with Rutland. This evening at 7 o'clock, I'm going to OCAM, and I'm going to present the same thing, saying that you concur with Rutland and now Barry's position to keep the gates open. I'm hopeful that we'll have the same cooperation. And then a week from tonight is Hubbardston's meeting. So I would like to go to that meeting and do the same exact thing. So, for your awareness and your support is what I'm asking, to represent the board on that position.
Okay.
Okay?
So can I get a motion, not from Jeff, to give him the board's approval to speak on behalf of the Rutland Select Board at the other towns' meetings relative to the contents of the support letter?
And I can show you what I'm presenting if you'd like.
I'll make that motion just as you stated. I don't have to repeat the whole thing.
It was that
If
good.
anybody had a question, this is what it's just very short and sweet. Asking them to concur, well, you can read it off real quick. Just for the
Just
public.
read this for the record? Or,
Well, so that's our letter.
So this is what I'm going to
That's
be
theirs.
presenting to these brother and sister boards, asking them to hopefully sign. Basically, it says that the town of Oakham concurs with the town of Rutland and Barry, their position letter to the Massachusetts Department of Conservation and Recreation dated February 10th, 2020, and February 18th, 2020 respectively. The town of Oakham requests that the current access level to DCR Road within the Ware River watershed remain unchanged, and that road access to this public lane remain open for lawful citizen use. Period, nothing further.
So just to clarify, within this packet, our original letter, Barry wrote their own letter. These would be offered letters of concurrence for the other boards if they'd like to simply add their support to the existing. They also would have the opportunity to write their own.
And I have the letter that Barry signed, if you'd like to see it. This is the original, just so the board knows.
Oh, okay. So Barry did not write their own letter. They just wrote a concurrence?
They signed off on the same,
They wrote a
Yeah, they
same
wrote a
cover,
concurrence.
well, it's basically the same
Yeah.
for OCAM.
with ours underneath.
These are the
Saying
same,
like-
right? Yeah.
That's it. And that's all I plan on doing.
I have a motion. I didn't hear a second yet.
No second?
Do we have to have a second for discussion?
Yeah.
Second.
Thank you. Okay. Discussion?
Well, we haven't really heard anything from the commissioner yet on this subject. I'm just curious if it's a little bit, again, premature to have our board officially sending someone to other boards to rally support when we really don't know the full scope of what the issue is.
Well, I would submit that the meeting is gonna take place in just a few weeks.
But there won't be any decisions made at the meeting.
The decision rests solely with the commissioner, and the commissioner is gathering information and input. And that's why the letter that we had here It was very basically worded, saying that we're asking that no changes be made and simply that the gates remain open. I think everybody is in unison with that. Everyone I've talked to, all the people who signed the petition, are in agreement that the gates should be made open. So we're not getting into all the weeds of what the other proposals are. That can be done at the hearing. But right now, what we are asking is that the four towns stand in unison that the gate should not be locked.
That's almost secondary to this. We've signed the letter. I think what
That's
we're
right.
looking for tonight is to see our comfort level on sending Jeff on a sort of an emissary mission to say, look, here's the letter we wrote, signed. Would you be comfortable in joining us in this?
Exactly.
And then they can have their own discussion about their feelings about it. I mean, I would agree that this is obviously going to be a very long conversation, particularly after the 19th meeting. I think it's going to be most likely very well attended.
Yep.
It does set the stage, I think, if all of the community towns that are affected are in some, what term did you just use? Lockstep?
Yeah.
On at least, support letters from the board, which is fairly rare, really. I can't remember the last time the communities got together on an issue like this.
That's right. Struck a nerve, as you say.
Yeah.
All right, I would leave it at that. Ask for the vote.
Okay, so are we comfortable with the motion as it stands,
Yes.
which is what Jeff is doing, going out, saying, here's our letter? Okay, and we had a second. Is there any further discussion?
And is that for Ocam and Hubbardston a week from now too?
I'll include Hubbardston, and I think you just said Ocam, but
Oh, I'm
we'll
sorry.
include Hubbardston also
Okay,
Thank you.
as an amendment.
Thank you.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Oh my God, Jeff, you still have more. No,
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
7 minutes here. And then our friends from the fire brigade, please stick around here, because the last thing that I wanted to talk about, 98,
You have 96 too, Jim.
yeah, I was gonna do that, but I think 98 I just covered.
Yep.
Yep.
That we are gonna recognize National Law Enforcement Memorial Day. That's good. So item number 96, the 4th of July events update. Want to let the board know that I did attend the last meeting, or the very first meeting of the 4th of July committee here at the library. They have selected their theme. The theme is 1920 to 2020. The year and decades, Rutland paints the town red, white, and blue, something like that. So it's kind of open. It was a very nice meeting. A lot of energy in there. There's a lot of things that they have planned going on, specifically some concerts, which I think would be really, really interesting on the Common. A lot of great things going on, especially with the 4th of July being on a Saturday this year. So that's going to change a little bit of that dynamic as opposed to last year. I think it was like a Wednesday. So everything's going to be crunched into that weekend in there. So they had their first meeting. They picked the theme. They got a lot of things in the works. Now, I brought up the topic on the same idea as the pouring license for the old fire barn, for a fundraiser specifically for the fire brigade. I would like to talk amongst the board members here to see what your appetite would be to do the same, very similar thing as what took place at the food truck festival, but now in the common, lower common, maybe the upper and lower common, that the pouring license would be issued to the fire brigade, be the twist cap type of thing like you see at a golf tournament, where they could buy the cans and whatever they don't use would be sold back to the distributor in there. But the pouring license, very similar to what took place at the food truck festival in there, but now for the common. So would there be an appetite or support for talking about that type of open container license? Now, that being said, I did speak to the police chief on there, and his position is he's fine with it as long as there's a permit issued. Okay? And that was it. He didn't have any concerns as long as there's a permit issued, and you can talk to him about that. The other idea, and I talked about this to the 4th of July committee, they were enthusiastic. They liked it. They liked it a lot because they thought that would be an opportunity for the brigade to sell the beer and then donations to be received by the 4th of July committee in there. Okay, so now there's no permit before the board, but if you guys are gonna nix it, then we won't bother. But if you are supportive, I would just say that the Fourth of July committee is very supportive of that as an opportunity to start making some money, because they need to raise some funds also, and they have the opportunity with all those people on the common. Midday would only be, what, a 4-hour permit or something like that. That's cash and carry and donations. So, same thing as we did on Memorial Field, but move it up to the common. All right?
I'm gonna let everybody think about that for a second. Name and address, just quick.
Darren Ross, 5 Rufus Putnam Lane in Rutland. We would also like to discuss for the 4th of July weekend, the possibility of holding along the same theme, behind the old fire station, the chicken, the Woodhouse at the fire station, a beer garden type event for the fireworks. So, and we're gonna discuss all these options as the brigade and come to you with a permit. We just wanna throw it out there and let's see where you guys are thinking. But we would like to, we were asked at the last brigade meeting to throw it to you guys to see what you thought about the possibilities of that. One being behind the Woodhouse on July 3rd for the fireworks, and 2 being over here on the common, possibly. And we'll go from there and see where your appetite is, but,
I think it's easier than selling chickens.
yeah, but we're not gonna not sell chicken, so I agree.
That's good, because that was my next question.
We are not gonna.
And then you
not
do a
sell
lot of
chicken.
work for
We're not-
not as much profit.
I understand.
Family would be very upset. Comments?
And with the proceeds will go directly to restoration of the old fire barn museum.
I mean, none of this is really fleshed out, but I don't see anybody opposing.
We just wanna
That.
float it by you, Mitch, that's all we're trying to
Yeah,
do. Just
I
get
mean-
you guys, get the mood of the,
You guys drink a lot of beer, apparently, huh?
no, well, we're hoping not that we won't, because we're gonna be serving it. What we have to do is be, licensed, we have to get approval, we have to go
Yeah.
get all the permits and stuff. We're not, no,
The only
we
thing
won't be.
what I would front out there is, what I don't like is the idea of having a roped-in corral area. I
Okay.
really appreciated how you did it at the Food Truck Festival, is that you had it delineated to be the whole Memorial Field, so you could go to the flea market, you could walk around, you could hit the crafts and things like that. So to be able to have it not so roped out would be nice.
What do we normally do in terms of increased public safety? Something like that.
Well, listen,
Some more
Never-
detail.
they got all hands on.
Never done it.
You
Yeah.
can't swing a dead cat up there on the 4th of July, the eve,
Thank you for that
3rd of
vision.
July.
Thank you, Darren.
But you can't, there's so many police officers up there, it's the safest place in town.
For the food truck festival, basically what we did was we just had an extra officer. The one who was on that day just went and patrolled behind. The 3rd and 4th of July are the only days per our union contract with both police unions that our entire department is required to be on already. So it's probably just having them focused on that area.
Massachusetts open container laws, anyone? Anyone?
Well, I
Pretty-
think we don't have any permits. I mean, I think at the point where you requesting it, we'd have to have a conversation probably with the
Yeah.
chief, right?
Yeah.
I talked to the chief, and he said as long as there's a permit, he's fine with it.
So I'll
It
just,
didn't seem that there was any big
Yeah.
prohibition in
Yeah.
there.
I'll
Between now and when the application's submitted, I can look at that exactly because
Yeah.
that's what I would
Well, I mean, we can't vote on anything tonight anyway.
no, of course not.
No.
No,
I'm just bringing up some devil's advocate. You're going to have questions about alcohol on public ways because not everyone stays on Memorial Field. You'll have questions about how much people are allowed to get. Certainly when you go into a theme park or something like that, you're only allowed to purchase 1 drink per ID. You're going to get questions, I would think, about the time frame. Nobody's going to, well, I shouldn't say that. I think I would have a concern about keeping a beer garden open past when the fireworks actually start, when it gets dark, and
well, you had set it on your permit. You set the time on your
sure,
permit or whatever.
but I'm just throwing that out there. Obviously the firework, it's dusk, the fireworks start, they're amazing, everybody tries to leave town fast, really fast, except now they've had a few.
Okay, well, maybe we should have 2 conversations. I mean,
Yeah.
4th of July, I think it's a different element.
Yes.
It's family, it's
Yep.
midday, it's summer, it's hot,
But they're sitting on the street, so I think we
sitting on
need
the
to.
street.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that walk to and from that celebration too
Yeah.
at 56. and
Yeah.
I s-
With beer. With their own.
Well, we don't
It-
need to be naive. They all drink on
Right.
the 4th of July weekend, it's just not buying it from the brigade. We're trying to
That's right.
offer a service to provide it colder and closer, and they don't have so many cans and bottles they gotta pick up.
The
And
Boy
lawful.
Scouts pick them all up from Memorial Field and they fill a couple bags. It's crazy.
Five,
I mean, you don't know because you
I
don't
mean,
see
I
it,
think
but
to
it's
the
crazy.
chair's point, I think, again, it's just gotta be flushed out,
Right.
and the difference there, Randy, is the liability issue. I mean, if somebody cracks one open on the way to or whatever, that's on them, but if the town issues something and then something happens,
Well,
that,
it's the fire brigade, and we talked about that, and the
Right.
insurance that they would do with
Yeah.
like $700 or something
Yeah.
like that. So, the permit would be issued to them, it's not
yeah,
the town's
I think the
own
chair
bid.
is just saying everything, just, we wanna see everything
I
flushed
think
Those are the
Sheila
questions.
brought up a
Yeah.
couple
Those are the
good points, and I think what we should do is discuss it, and just,
Yeah.
we wanted to float it out there,
Yeah.
we'll bring it up, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's any different than the food truck festival that was
That's right.
success, as long as we have guidelines.
That's right.
And we would.
I have one question.
Before
Name
we
and
get
address.
into that, the public comment, can I be excused?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
Elaine
He's-
wants
he's
one
gonna walk right
question
out,
straight.
name and
It's
address.
Concerning the beer thing.
Yeah.
They sell beer, are they allowed to walk away and walk into the common with open beer?
That's what we're at,
I-
that's
Or are
what
they
we're
gonna
asking.
be enclosed in one area, you have to stay here to drink this, you
Yeah.
can't?
Yeah,
beyond
we'll,
that
we'll
point?
have to answer those questions. It's
That's
not,
I know we drink, I know that's a big weekend, but I don't want them walking all over the place with open, because I think there's a law against that.
yeah,
Well,
That's
they
a
don't
Yeah.
permit.
Yeah.
The permit.
So I think that's a question, plus you have a lot of families up there with young, real young kids.
Yep.
And that's the day that you want families.
yeah.
And I have just said one thing. I
Is it-
just want,
is it on the topic?
no, I just want to say, Jeff, you did a great job with
Thank
the
you.
MDC.
Oh.
And I just wanted everybody to know that we appreciate what you did.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, Jeff, are you done?
If you're done, if you guys are good, I'm good.
We're
Take it
good.
Jeff,
easy.
you had a ton of energy tonight, it was a lot.
Yeah, 'cause I knew it'd be a short meeting for me.
Yeah, all right, off you go.
Good
Off
luck.
you go.
Good luck over there.
Thanks for your support.
Thank you.
With the brigade here for those items, did you want to talk more about anything before we move on?
No, we just wanted to float it out there.
Okay.
Yep.
June
Well, I-
20th,
Oh, you want, okay. Okay, no, so here's what I'm gonna do, because again, our order of business lately has just gone right out the window. We'll go to public comment. Jeff's leaving,
Thank you.
okay? And that will allow you to talk about the June event, okay?
See you guys later.
All right, so we're going to number 7, public comment. Is there anyone here for public comment? Darren? Randy?
The
Anyone?
Wachusett Area Muster League is gonna have their annual muster on June 20th in Rutland Center. Once again, they've asked that they have a area of the common that they can have a beer garden. And that's on June 20th. We can address the concerns of people walking all around town with it, but what we will do is we just want to, number one, tell you that there's a muster on the common, June 20th. And they've asked us to ask for a one-day permit for beer on that day.
Who's they?
The Wachusett
The
Regional.
brigade, the Wachusett, the muster guys,
The muster
part of the brigade.
So wait, can we, real quick, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time keeping up with all the beer licenses that we're
Right?
requesting.
It's a lot.
We're up to 4 now, right? For the spring and summer?
Moses Howe.
Okay.
No, not Moses Howe.
Yeah.
Public law
Firefight,
enforcement,
Law Enforcement Memorial
recognition.
Day. 4th of July, 2 days. And now we're talking, yeah,
Yeah, the law says you can get up to 30 in a calendar year for an individual.
for an individual.
For an individual organization.
Yeah.
So
Let's
So
not
there-
give these guys ideas.
I did, just
2 weeks.
my birthday.
Okay, I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
the dates aren't overlapping. We're
No,
talking
they're
about
not
different dates.
overlapping, we're just floating it out there for discussion at a future date.
Okay.
When you say the muster is on the common, first of all, when was the last time Rutland hosted the muster?
It's every 4 years, right?
Well, but Rutland hasn't been.
Rutland hasn't had a muster here since probably in 20 years.
Yeah.
Early
We
80s.
just became a member of the Wachusett
Right.
area muster recently. We went to Princeton.
Yeah.
We went to Boylston the year before. It's our turn to host it this year, which
Okay.
is a fairly big deal and a
Yeah.
fair amount of effort to be put into it. So it's not gonna, we're not gonna ask for a beer license next year unless we did such a bang-up job that they want us back, but it's likely to be a 6-year rotation.
And the muster will have to close down the street for a little bit,
There's
yes?
been discussion with
Yeah.
Chief Monaco in regards to that already.
Okay.
Yeah. Just-
So you'll be,
And we're gonna use water in the hoses, not beer, if anyone's wondering.
that would be quite a muster. Oh my.
We have milk tanks that can bring enough beer.
All right, so that is a liquor license request that is coming
Eventually.
fairly
Surely.
soon, shortly.
Absolutely.
Great.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there anyone else here for public comment requesting a liquor license? No? Is there anyone here?
Highway-
Is there anyone here for public comment on another topic? Any other topics? Here, no? Okay. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
I'm gonna try to get back in order. Town administrator.
We have a couple updates on the select board side. The select board email addresses have officially been set up by CM Geeks. You each have your confidential usernames and passwords to log into those. They will be added to the website once the website is back up and running. Civic Plus websites and all websites hosted on it's like Citrix or something. It's Civic Plus's parent website crashed today, and the website was down all day. They are working and are in contact with the town clerk's office to see that gets up as soon as possible. Any meetings that are posted between now and then are posted in town hall in the way that's permissible by law, but the old-fashioned way, and will be up on the website after that. So we couldn't update the website with these email addresses until we have access to update the website. But these are all public record email addresses, and we will get you a write-up at the next meeting for you all to sign, so you have the communications policy from the town that we give out to all our employees. You also have your town-issued Chromebooks. They are very simple access. You need internet access to access any files on here, and again, everything on your Chromebooks are considered public record. Meeting materials and Google Drives and things of that nature. All stuff that is also public record that we have anyway. Rather than putting it in a binder, we put it there, save on paper. So that is in as well for both the select board and the finance committee. This is something like we talked about when we voted on this last June, that this is something many cities and towns are moving towards doing to cut down on paper costs. If you think just for this past special town meeting, Laura and I went through 4 cases of paper. So this is to try to cut down on that. And if there are any questions, there is a 24/7 support number that's listed on your email sheets for both the Chromebooks and the email addresses, or you can get a hold of me anytime and we can talk about those. The last thing that I'd like to say today in detail is just that because I told the board that I would give the board an update on the marijuana RFIs at the February 24th meeting. The group is meeting. We've reviewed portions of the RFIs that are redacted. We're still continuing, so I can't talk about anything there, and it still is all confidential and privileged at this point because it's still in the working group reviewing the RFIs. Hopefully we'll have something to you mid to end of March. The earlier the better is what we're looking at that. And that is where we are on that as promised. The last thing I say is at the next meeting we're going to give a update on the 68 intersection because we had a request from the public about that, but Joe and I are meeting with the engineers this week on that, so we'll have a better update on that next week. Or the next meeting, rather.
Great. Thank you. Any questions for the town administrator?
No.
Okay, under old business, town administrator evaluation. I think the board saw the email from Mike asking for a little bit more time. We're also missing 2 members tonight, so I don't see how
What?
that would have gone well.
Well, I know, I know that we gotten Mike everything that he needs.
He's missing something.
What is he missing?
Just a document that was incomplete.
Who's,
He has a cover sheet with scores, and he has everything that everyone gave me. However, in an effort to try to keep everybody on the same page, one of the documents just needs to be fleshed out.
whose document?
I mean, really?
Yeah. We're supposed to have completed 3 evaluations contractually by now, and
Yeah.
we haven't done a single one.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, why does this keep getting delayed? I don't understand.
Well, yeah, it's not ideal. I don't know what to tell you. I will say tonight, now having 2 members missing, wouldn't have been ideal anyway, but would have been nice to have been ready either way. So, I apologize. Okay, we will get it done. It's really
Yeah.
just an effort to keep you here. I don't know how that actually functionally works, but yeah. I think we went through
97.
yeah, Moses Howe. You have a super fun spreadsheet. Are we moving on? This is your first look at the budget for the upcoming fiscal year.
Dan and Becky and I met as recent as this afternoon at 3 to continue looking at this. If you see in the tiny print on the top, this is version 15 of the budget. Since I received my look-throughs, Finance Committee has taken 2 look-throughs as well, with the 3rd this week with the school department. These numbers are based off of the governor's budget. The House is yet to release theirs. We expect theirs to come out mid-March if they follow their usual timeline, and that's usually higher than the governor's budget, as is the Senate's. The biggest increases we have, and you can take a look at this as well, and we can carry this at the next meeting too, should people have specific questions, are the schools went up about $705,000. Insurance for health and dental combined went up, as did county retirement. And then all of our other main increases are contractual increases. You'll see that Director Buckley spread out some things in the DPW related accounts, because there are 7 or so accounts that fall under his purview. After last year's Finance Committee meetings, there was a question of clarifying what exactly goes into the DPW's budget. So you'll see wages before was held in one big bucket under Highway Administrator. So he's now spread those out on page 4 and 5 as to where that falls. So for instance, we have 2 full-time mechanics whose only job is to do mechanic work rather than highway work. If a pothole is out, they're not the ones who's fixing it. So Joe moved the portion that was under that one bubble under machinery and maintenance and so on from there. So that's just a formatting question that Joe broke out the budget as to what we're spending money on throughout his department. And again, this is a big spreadsheet with a lot of little numbers on it. So if anyone has questions after today, you can always feel free to call me during the week, and we can put this on the next agenda too if there's any questions that you'd like to answer in a meeting as well.
Can we ask questions now?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm just throwing it out there that people may need time to digest it, that's all.
Right. So, Mike, I'm just looking through. I'm going to pull out super fast ones just to ask the questions.
Yep.
So, under TA,
Yes.
you significantly reduced that budget from the request, which would have been your own request.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just budget help.
Okay. Just to bring the red down a little bit. Is that what that was?
Yeah, are you looking at TA or select board?
I am looking at town administrator, I think.
Yes. Oh, so that's a good point. A lot of that comes from, if you look at the salary line, I put the number that the position was advertised at when Margaret left,
Okay.
in case things happen in other municipalities, that we need to look at, but that was cut down to the current one that was just there so people like the Finance Committee could see what the job was originally advertised at.
Okay. So,
That's all.
thank you. So,
And then in the select board, you'll see it looks like there's a $29,000 reduction, but that's just because the executive assistant line item was moved from select board down to TA. Just to clarify that, so there's a difference between the select board secretary, who takes the minutes at the meetings, and the executive assistant who does the day-to-day in the office.
I'm noticing a lot of the departments requested very similar numbers, whether it was under 10,000 population or over. I
Yeah.
know you had that exercise that
Yeah,
they did.
yeah.
But the assessor's number is significantly different.
That is because of the change in staffing
Okay.
that we had.
All right.
So this would be increased, basically 10,000 plus would be increased hours for the assistant.
You level funded network they asked for more,
Which one? Network.
bottom of page 1.
Yeah, I met with Paul afterwards. A lot of this is because I had put in a $5,000 payment for that cycling out equipment that we talked about last year
Yep.
when we purchased the bunch of computers.
Okay.
Paul said we could skip a year on that because we're getting 20 computers now. So we wouldn't have to worry about that.
Okay.
The e-permitting software is our annual subscription to Viewpoint. And then Paul said he was good at flatlining
Okay.
the other two. So that's where the reduction comes. Is really from that $5,000 that I put in there that Paul didn't request.
Okay.
Yeah.
Town clerk,
Town clerk
Page-
is just hours differences.
page 2, about the middle. As in, the town clerk is asking to add hours to the office.
Damien, yeah.
So you just reduced the increase from the current year.
Yeah.
So we went from 99 to a request of 114.5 to currently in place 102.8.
Yep.
Okay. I see that.
And
police-
again, these are just
Yeah, no.
working numbers based off of what we currently have, and then we go back and see what we can do.
I like looking at these early on just to, we've had so many years where the departments would ask for something that was so far from being possible. And it seems like this year, the cuts you're making are pretty slim at the moment. I mean, we're not
should-
there yet.
Yeah, we are. We still do need to find
A lot.
$4,250,000. But the budget wasn't even released at this point in time last year. So to have a 15th version of the budget already done, where we've already cut $175,000 out of it, is productive.
I have a question about town council.
Yes.
Last year, we budgeted
30?
30, we exceeded that by like 15%. We budgeted 30 this year again. I see the spending as of now. Do we anticipate that going over again, or is that gonna come in?
No,
around?
there was a lot of special articles that were moved to increase that.
So you think that there's no risk of going over in that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Marijuana was just a
Huge
bigger-
on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I see we're actually at a, it's good. I mean, we're at a lower level than most prior years. So,
We are only 63% through the fiscal year, I will say that. And a lot of our stuff that we pay town council for comes around town meeting, where they review all of our documents, all of our
Okay.
changes and stuff.
That
So
makes
that's where
sense.
our hourly stuff comes in with them.
all right.
I will say there was an issue with town phones before you get to that, just so that's there and you don't kind of question that. And I talked to the finance committee about this past week.
We just changed the whole system, right?
Yes. But the change took longer than expected due to issues with parts coming in, cut over in terms of when the actual companies were able to take us on and so on from there. So we didn't go live with the new voice over IP system until December. We budgeted to go live on that in August, so we were getting two bills at once because some departments were live and some were not. So that, looks like it's been fully expended. But we also have an issue with that there were some equipment purchases that were supposed to be taken out of the article that was passed at town meeting to cover the cost of the purchasing of the equipment that was mistakenly paid out of this line item. So we're evening those out now to the amount that should have been taken out of the article as well. So we are actually okay with that.
And the education, to ask a question about that, it looks like it's right under 6% for the increase. Is that,
Yes. Yep.
is that where we're at?
Mhm.
Am I
Yep.
I am reading that correctly? Because I can
Correct.
do math in my head. Remedial math, but math nonetheless.
Yes, that is correct. I'm just
Okay.
trying to find where
So
that.
we asked for 2.5 to 3.5. They gave us 6.
Yeah, was it like 5.8, something like that was the actual number?
Yeah, for the total budget.
Yeah, but Rutland's number. Is this Rutland's number, Mike?
Yes.
The percentage? Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's a little under 6.
Yeah.
Yes, and
5.5.
Yeah. Between 5.5 and 6.
Mhm.
Again, the math in my head is not working out in terms of the decimal point, so
well, it's 5.6.
5.6.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to keep asking you questions.
Yeah.
Council on Aging,
Yes.
are reduced on your budget,
Again, they were looking for increased hours.
increased hours,
Yeah.
okay. Still
So-
going up, just not as much as they would have liked.
Yeah.
Library, I'm seeing the same thing.
Increased hours.
All of them, okay.
Now, you asked, as part of this process, you charge department heads with really taking a look at what they're going to need based on future
Yeah.
population growth.
Yeah.
In terms of an overall document, in your planning and what you're seeing, does this put us on pace to get to where we need to be 3 or 4 years down the road? Or are there going to have
That's-
to be substantial changes made incrementally to get there?
So the goal is to start making small changes to get to a spot by 2026 when we're projected to hit 10,000. If we can afford it, I'm going to put that caveat there at the end too, because we do still have to find 475.
I think it's
But-
important, though. My point is that
Yeah.
it's important that we start, I think, articulating now
Mm-hmm.
to the public when you start seeing items like library and council on aging changing a bit.
Yeah.
It's because those things, not just those, but like
Yeah.
public safety is going to be something else. Those things have to change once we hit certain population benchmarks.
Yeah.
So we have to prepare for that.
Yeah. So, and those are the three departments, or two of the three that hit it the most. It's that we heard from were fire, police, council on aging, and library. Those are the
course.
4 departments that really, I don't want to say are the only ones that have a direct, this is going to happen.
They're most impacted.
But police would need an additional officer. Fire, library, and COA, it's not so much that they need additional personnel, it's that that's where their grant funding cuts off, and they go into a different grant funding pot.
It's a different pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
At the
where the effect is
10,000
there, at the
mark.
10,000 mark. So for instance, there are, but excuse me, but we are also going to be looking at is 10,000 under which metric. So a lot of the grants, all of the public safety related grants, go off of the federal census, which we're taking this year. So even if we break 10,000 in 2026, and while we should be working to get to where we need to be by that
It won't
time,
officially be counted until
we would,
2030.
yeah, 2030 is when those financial impacts would actually jump into play.
Mhm. So we have
Um,
some time.
Yeah, same thing for the library, and I believe the COA, but I'd have to check on COA. But those two are at least off of the federal census. But again, at least now we have a picture of where we need to get to go, so that we can adequately plan
Great.
for that.
Great job.
Thank you.
With Joe sitting here, is there a way that you can help clarify, and I think you'll get these questions from FinCom.
Joe
Like-
met last week with him. Yeah.
You did already?
Yeah.
Deep dive into what changed, what you reorganized. Do you know what I mean? To be able to say, here's what it was and here's where we're headed. Because I'm looking at snow and ice, and I'd have to look back at my old sheets, but I don't think snow and ice, where we budgeted and we have an actual that matches it every year, that can't, that's not right, from back before 19. So we've got some record keeping maybe issues from before you guys came.
Yeah,
that
these
we
don't
need
include
to-
town meeting increases.
Yeah.
This was just original budget.
Yeah.
But
Because I know that's one you're trying to fix, if that makes sense, so we can get it to a point where it's funded adequately
Yeah.
and not funded with an idea that we can overspend it.
Well, if I can clarify, just for the public who's not seeing this too and maybe watching, what Joe did was he sat down with myself, and he's sitting down. We'll be sitting down shortly with Dan, Becky, the finance team, and said that there's a lot more that goes into snow and ice than just salt and sand, which is really the only thing that we had in the snow and ice budget. Most of our overtime goes into snow and ice. Most of our wages goes into snow and ice. Most of our some supplies, a lot of the maintenance goes into snow and yeah. So
If you
what?
don't mind, if I answer, comment on some of it as we go through the chair, I didn't ask first, but roughly half of the mechanic's time and equipment goes to repairing some.
So this isn't looking so much that we don't go back and fill it after, because this is the only line item that we are allowed to go and deficit spend.
Mm.
Just a more accurate portrayal.
It's exactly, because then if we, and each town does things a little different from each other too when it comes to snow and ice. So for instance, in Barry, what they do is between November through March, everyone's only paid out of snow and ice, no matter what's coming out of the sun, because you're preparing, you're doing this, you're doing that. We're not saying do that. We're just saying have a more accurate picture that during a snowstorm, we call someone out to go plow, we're paying overtime. hit a pothole and break something on the truck that's coming out of maintenance, which wasn't happening before. So it's just so we get a more accurate picture, so we're not putting the highway budget in as much of a grind. Now, this isn't saying we're not going to fully overexpend it. This is just putting pieces of it in there so that if we need to, when we're in that bind, we can. Because right now what we're doing is if we have enough repairs that we need to make and we run out of the budget now, we park the trucks, and then first week of July we go and we fix the trucks. So you're already starting the new fiscal year.
Technically a structural deficit because it automatically puts you behind.
Yeah, it's one of the things that came up
You're
last
really
year when
not
the
supposed
DOR
to do
was
that.
talking to us.
Did they ask you about your machinery maintenance number?
No, just overall
They did.
operations.
Okay. Did you see it?
Through the chair, Mr. Nicholson, if you could make the letter that describes all of
Yeah.
the budget available to the
Yeah.
board, that may clear some of it up.
Yeah. Joe
But-
does have a memo with that too. It's in your Chromebooks on the drive.
Ah,
In plain English, basically after a year or so, I could see where we were spending our money. So the budget intentionally shows where we're actually spending our money. Previous, it looked like you had a large sum going to, say, salaries, but when you break it all out as to where it goes, maybe 20% goes to buildings, half of it goes to mechanics. It's not as much dedicated to roads as you actually might think, and that's what that budget is trying to reflect.
Yeah. And that was a question that Joe got last year when he met with finances. If there's so much money in your highway budget, how come there's not highway work being done? And he just wanted to show, well, it's not just highway. There's buildings, there's
Yeah.
maintenance, there's...
yeah. Can I ask you where that goal number came from?
That is the revenue without the $150,000 of free cash that we have in the policy. So then it says goal with policy, that's with the $150,000 of free cash that we have.
So maybe for next meeting, when you say revenue, are you saying our 2.5 increase straight taxes? Because we haven't seen
Yeah.
our
That's
revenue
everything.
sheet yet.
Yeah, that's everything. I'll get you revenue sheets at the next meeting.
Excellent.
That's tax levy excluded debt, that because we pay that in the debt line item. That's new growth, that's pilots, that's revenue.
And all that revenue number, is this estimate based on flat revenue or a projected increased revenue?
That's based off of, there's
So
some projected increases in there, but it's not full. We still have
Okay.
some wiggle room. in
there's
there.
wiggle room?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't be comfortable going any higher than that, though.
Right. Right. And our free cash right now is
I'd have to look
Almost-
after town meeting, but
it's
it's
almost
almost
three, yeah.
300,000.
okay.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay. Anybody questions? Good times. Questions? No? Okay. DCR sewer.
This one, we just wanted to update you that Joe and I did meet with DCR to talk about to negotiate, as was we said at the last meeting. We spoke with town council when we were making the agenda for today to talk about going into an executive session to discuss this, because this is negotiations and our meetings are televised on TV and YouTube. However, we were informed that under the new amendments to the open meeting law, because there's no active lawsuit and the negotiations are not personnel or collective bargaining related, this does not fall under the purview of an executive session discussion, and any discussions would have to be done in open session. So in order to make sure we don't lose our hand in the negotiations, what we would have to do is ask that the board pick a member or two to sit down with Joe and discuss what we have in front of us.
Okay. So, is anyone, here are your options. Dying to do it,
I'll do it.
interested in assigning it to somebody who's not here, or waiting until the other members are here to assign?
I think this stuff has been interesting to look at. I mean, I'd be willing to volunteer to do it.
Great. And we can, are you all right if I go in too?
That's fine.
Okay.
And that's what we normally do with these types of things, is 2 members.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just because it's under a quorum, but it's not like we're trying to hide something from open meeting. It's just we're trying to make sure we don't lose
Yep.
our weight in the negotiation. And then
Yep.
we give the update after it's done.
Yep. And you'll be there.
Yes.
Yep. And you'll be there.
This is meeting with Joe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe, did you have a question?
I just wanted to make a comment, just a couple quick things. Through the chair, Mr. Nicholson, did you forward on all the emails regarding our concerns?
Yeah, I was waiting until after they just made that decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just want to state, this is time sensitive. DCR is going to try and move faster than we would feel comfortable with at this time, so I applaud you making a quick decision.
Well, thank you. We try sometimes. It's hard to do. Kind of need a motion. Can you make a motion?
Well, yeah, you would have to make it right one.
All right, I'll make the motion to, however you want to word it. To assign,
Yep.
Approve? Yeah,
to
either way.
approve.
Whatever Tamika wants to write.
Sacrifice.
Yeah,
It is. It's more like approve.
appoint as volunteered.
Okay.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mitch and Sheila to sit in on the DCR sewer IMA negotiations. Can you second that?
Yeah, that is allowed.
Oh, we,
Yes.
Yeah.
Beyond
Second.
that, would you?
second?
Thank you. Any more discussion? Notation that we have a compliment from our director for our fast action. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You can vote.
I did,
Okay, good. Great.
sorry.
So next meeting is.
We're still scheduling
Okay.
that. What'll happen is Joe and I will schedule a meeting with you two to go over where we are up to this point.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we will not be part of the actual negotiation, we'll just be filled in, or what are we,
That we will discuss at this meeting.
got it. A meeting to discuss future meetings.
That's right.
Yep.
We have
This is
signed.
special.
We have signed our select pilots. The last thing listed under new business is the library trustee appointment. You have a letter from the trustees and a letter from
The applicant.
the applicant. Thank you.
Where's,
All the way in the right. Oh, here. She's a former employee of the town, I believe, from the select board's office. Interested in joining the board of trustees. We have a vacancy there. And we have the letter of support from the other trustees.
I have to recuse. I have a family member on the board of trustees. That wrote the recommendation.
Okay, so we're gonna hold this.
So we can't do anything with just two of us.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, so it has to be. Yeah, that's
Alright.
okay.
Yeah, unless you voted, he would have to vote something. If you're recusing, you can't.
No, I mean, I
You
think this
can-
person wanting to serve is great. I just
Yeah.
can't. I'd
Yeah.
have to recuse.
Yeah.
And I want to vote no because it's not fair to the persons.
Yeah.
No, right. I'm saying you could. You could have voted.
Abstain.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's an
Yeah.
abstention, it counts as
It
a quorum
actually
too.
would, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really a comfort thing for you. So if we can wait, I mean, I don't think it's time sensitive.
No.
Then I'd rather just recuse. It's all right.
Okay.
That's fine.
So we have no correspondence, but one item that is time sensitive.
Yes, under other business, our treasurer, Rebecca Tuttle, has submitted a letter to you all asking that a member of our dispatch union, Mr. Robert Holmes, be appointed to the Insurance Advisory Committee. The Insurance Advisory Committee was set up by the board. It has a member of the retirees, a non-union employee, myself, the treasurer, and one member of each of our unions. And if you don't have the letter, I have extras here. They will be meeting on Wednesday to discuss this year's insurance rates with the budget, and they need voting members. We didn't have members from either the sergeant's union or the dispatch union for the past year. So Becky reached out to the unions, and then the union president, Chris Wilder from the dispatch union, reached out and said that they would look like this person to be appointed. So this, because they're meeting on Wednesday to vote on this stuff, she'd like and it's not an appointment that could be open to the public, and it's decided by the union. She'd
Okay.
like them appointed.
Well, I guess then we have the support. It's time sensitive. We'll make a motion to appoint
Robert Holmes.
Robert Holmes to the Insurance Advisory Committee.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there any other business to come before the board? Motion to adjourn. May I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.